Hi, everybody, and welcome into another edition of In Between the Lines on D9and10sports.com. If you like sports, this is the place to be. I'm Brian Hagberg alongside Andy Close and Dave Sherman again with you here. We're going to go over some more playoff basketball here in District 9 and 10. The champions have been crowned. Some of the sub-regional games have already taken place, so we'll talk about some of those as well. Just again, want to thank everybody for making our last two episodes so popular. Again, go to our YouTube page, D9 and 10 Sports. Click like and subscribe and get all the latest content from us. And guys, some fantastic finishes in championship games over the weekend and into this week. So let's get right to it. First of all, in District 9, boys 1A championship. Clarion, a 58-56 overtime winner over Johnsonburg. Hunter Craddock with those two key free throws with 0.6 of a second to go.
Well, it is March Madness, guys. I will tell you what, we had some fantastic championship games, as you said. Clarion, the 4 seed, knocking off Johnsonburg, the 3 seed for the Class 1A title. It's funny, I saw Clarion back about a month ago, and they probably played the worst game they played all season. And so I probably wasn't a good judge of them at the time. But man, what a run for Coach Scott Fox, Warren County native. Congratulations to him. What a run for the Clarion Bobcats. And what an exciting finish. Certain guys are made for that moment. Certain guys and girls, I should say. Certain athletes are made for that moment. Sure. Hunter Craddock's a 57% free throw shooter. Goes to the line, knocks shots down to win the championship like it was nothing. Man, that was a fantastic finish.
I agree. And the beauty of that with high school sports is those people involved, those players involved, will talk about that game at their 20th reunion, their 50th reunion, and memories of a lifetime. Even on the losing side, over time, the pain will fade a little, and they can say, we were part of a great championship basketball game. Yeah. So.
And then again, speaking of fantastic finishes, moving right along to 2A, Karn City 67-65 over Coudersport. Andy, you had the privilege of being on hand for that one. Tell us a little bit how it went down.
Oh my goodness, what another fantastic ball game. Cowdy jumps out to a 15-point lead in the first half. They're shooting the lights out. You're thinking, oh boy, Karn City's in big trouble. But no, here come the Gremlins in the second half. Chase Bailey, the school's all-time leading scorer, catches fire in the second half. Starts knocking down threes left and right. Nathan Waltman, the Slippery Rock football commit, takes over on the inside. They get a 7-point lead. Cowdy comes storming back. Hayden Keck, their leading scorer, who's going to Mercyhurst to play football, gets fouled, shooting a 3, down 3 with 1.2 seconds left. Goes to the line, makes the first. Karn City coach Chris Bellis calls timeout, ices him. He misses the second, then tries to miss the third on purpose to get the rebound, but it was to no avail.
Andy, let me jump in for real quick on that. And here's the difference. If you saw the Slippery Rock Warren game, you saw Emma Ruhlman at the line with no time on the clock. He went to the line with 1.2. I don't know if you both realized it. I learned something. You can't call timeout with no time on the clock. So they could not ice Emma Ruhlman. Mm-hmm. So there is the difference. Therein lies the difference. Subtle, but important.
Right. But just a terrific finish to that ball game, and then and we'll get into this in a little bit. But Karn City turns around last night, trounces Conemaugh Township.
Saw that
in the first round.
They're rolling.
Yep, they are.
And you win a game like that to win a district title, the confidence carries over. Sure. And I realized this year, everybody in the I almost said NCAAs, the PIAA tourney is a district champion. Mm-hmm. So everybody should feel a sense of confidence. Mm-hmm. But coming off a game like that, you feel like you can knock off the Lakers.
Mm-hmm. All right, 3A, Brookville, 69-46 winner over Kane. And 4A, Clearfield, a 48-39 winner over St. Mary's. And in 5A, DuBois was a 56-32 winner over Carrick in the 8-9 sub-regional. Clearfield, shorthanded last night, goes down and knocks off Obama Academy.
Yeah.
I think that's important to point out, the three starters.
Yeah, three, including Carson Rumsky, 1,000-point scorer, their leading scorer on the season. They go down there shorthanded and just trounce Obama. Now, Obama, a little bit of a unique situation this year. City League didn't start till February. Then they had a COVID shutdown, so they only played a handful of games. But even so, I mean, that's the state playoff game.
Sure.
You're going down there minus 3 key guys and get a win. That's that's big time. That's kids stepping up. You'd love to see kids stepping up this time of year. And Clearfield, shorthanded, certainly did that last night. And
I'd be curious to see the conversation the next day at practice, the next day at school. As they look at those 3 starters and go, we're in pretty good shape. So you might have to earn your spot back.
All right, taking a look now at the District 9 Girls Champions, in 1A, Coudersport with a 41-28 win over Otto Eldred.
Yeah, and Brian, if I could just jump in, I was at that game. Coudersport got some Sarah Chambers, 1,000-point scorer, standout senior. Otto Eldred held her in check. It was her younger sister Emma that stepped up big time in that game, as well as Roz Page. Roz tied her season high in points. Emma had her season high in points. And again, you love to see kids stepping up in the big moments this time of year. And we had that once again in the County Otto Eldred girls title game.
And I'm glad. I'd like to build on that. The headlines will point to the Craddock free throws or German with 30 or you pick a star. Credit to the player that pulled down 11 rebounds and averages 4, held his or her opponent from 17 down to 9. The little things that maybe don't even show up in the box score, but they played a critical key role, especially in a 2-point overtime game. It's easy to overlook those role players, and role players get it's almost like it's hardly a compliment to be labeled a role player, but every team has them, especially in this sport.
Every team needs one.
Every team needs one. Every winning team has one, I guarantee you.
At least one.
At least one. Good point.
In 2A, Keystone, 42-31 winner over Brockway. In 3A was Punxsutawney, big 60-37 over Montauk, and St. Mary's 43-26 over Clearfield. In 4A, guys, anything from those 3 games stand out to you?
No, but man, is Punxsy loaded. That is a terrific basketball team. They spread you out. They basically put 5 guards on the floor, and they attack you. They shoot. They have speed. They beat you from all angles, and then they turn around after beating Montauk in the District 9 title game and just hand it to Everett, District 5 champion. And that's sub-regional, so that's a team that's built to make a deep run.
And you want to crown a champion, you want to be excited about the nets and the trophy and all that, but for Punxsy, clearly, it truly was just another game on their way to where they want to get to be.
Seventh consecutive District 9 championship. They are a dynasty in District 9 right now, there's no doubt about it.
All right, we're going to turn over to District 10 now. We'll start with the boys. In 1A, Farrell 65-30 over Jamestown, and then they lost in the state tournament to Berlin 70-49. Kennedy Catholic in 2A 66-47 over Cambridge Springs. I think we expected both of those teams to come out with the champions.
Yeah,
we did.
And Cambridge Springs, hung tough. They gave them a ball game, and that's certainly Becky Leandro does a fantastic job with that program. Kennedy just a little too tough.
In 3A, Franklin with a 56-47 win over Sharpsville. I had the privilege of being at that game, and it was a 9-point margin, but man, that was a battle all the way throughout with teams trading big shots all game long.
And unlike other brackets, that's where you clearly had the 2 best teams. They belong there. Okay, let's have the best team win, move on, cut down the net, so to speak, and they did. Franklin is the better team.
In 4A, it was Hickory with a 39-34 comeback win over Harbor Creek. We'll definitely touch more on that game later, but initial thoughts from that one, guys?
We talked about this before. Whoever came out of 4A, you were going to earn it. Hickory earned it. They had a tough game every step of the way. LaBeouf, Warren, and Harbor Creek, and they are a deserving champion. And you feel good for them because they were one of the teams that were still playing when the COVID shutdown happened last year. You gotta feel great for them,
And they never scored over 45 points in any of the 3 games, so they grinded out victories. especially this one. They had 10 points at the half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you talk to the coach and the players before the game, said we got 10 points at half, we're not moving on. Right. So credit to them.
Yep. And very physical, the semifinals and the finals for sure. Very physical contests. In 5A, Cathedral Prep avenges a couple regular season losses, gets a 52-36 win over Meadville, then went on to beat Du Bois 47-34 in the sub-regional. Were you surprised that Cathedral Prep came out and played that well against Meadville?
A little bit, but it goes back to, I know it's cliche and it's an old adage, it's hard to beat a good team 3 times in one season. And all the credit in the world to Prep. Again, kids stepping up when everyone's picking against them. And I know it's Prep and they have the pedigree and everything else, but still, they were coming in the underdog in that ball game.
And look at what they gave up: 36 in the championship game, 34 in the sub-regional. If they weren't going to beat you 70-65, they had to keep you under 40, and they did.
Yeah. And then in 6A, it was Erie, a 46-37 winner over McDowell, and then went down and just hammered Altoona last night.
Yeah, but was that game? I think that game was at Erie. But Erie, first district, a new school, relatively new school, new program, first District 10 championship. I feel great for those kids, and they're an exciting ball club.
Won't be their last either.
No.
So, and they can move on. They may not be done.
Yeah.
All right, looking at the girls now. In 1A, it was Kennedy Catholic 51-34 over Farrell. I think that was probably about what we expected to see there.
Yeah, yes. Kennedy undefeated, then goes on, last night and gets a nice win over District 5 champion Shanksville, Stony Creek, so they're moving on as well.
Sure.
In 2A, a bit of a surprise, Cambridge Springs, a 51-36 winner over West Middlesex, knocks off the defending champions, ends a pretty long run for the Big Reds.
Yep, 5 straight District 10 championships for West Middlesex. First District 10 title in program history for Cambridge Springs. Congratulations, Coach Ryan McKissick and company. He has a terrific ball club, and
we knew it had to come to an end.
We knew it had to come to an end at some point, and I've had the opportunity to see Cambridge Springs play. It's a good ball club. I guess we should not be surprised.
And we talked about when teams make a run, and I believe I referred to Lakeview last time. When you have that championship pedigree, you've collected titles, but when the balloon pops, to see that 15-point spread. I don't know if either of you got to see that game or not. Once they knew it was over, there goes the air, and there goes the run. Yeah. And hey, guys, it was nice while it lasted. We have so much to be proud of, but the better team won.
Yeah. And speaking of first-time champions in 3A, it was Fairview winning its first District 10 championship, 44-37 over Lakeview. Again, congratulations to the Tigers there. Yeah. And a great moment after the game when they went up and put the year right on the banner, that first one under the district champions. I thought that was pretty cool.
You've kind of seen that in recent years with the NCAA tournament too, where the teams put their name on the bracket, they're moving on.
Yes.
Very cool. And again, Fairview, a terrific defensive ball club. We've seen it. We've talked about it. Defense wins championships. It's true in basketball as well, guys.
I agree. Worthy champ, too. Good for them.
Yep.
Absolutely no surprise in 4A. Villa 51-16 over Fort LaBeouf, and then went on last night and a big win over St. Mary's as well.
Yeah, none of that surprising. They're loaded. They're undefeated for a reason, and very capable of making a run.
Much like the Punksy girls, check the box. We're not here for district titles. Yeah. We've got bigger aspirations.
For sure.
In 5A, maybe one of the most exciting and controversial endings we've seen in a while. Warren comes away with a 40-39 win over Slippery Rock. You touched on a little bit earlier, Dave. Emma Ruhlman fouled, shooting an attempted buzzer-beating three-pointer. No time on the clock. She buries all three to give the Dragons a 1-point win.
If you were there, you won't forget it for a long time. I compared it early on in pregame to, if you're my age, Ollie Frazier. It lived up to Ollie Frazier. It was a heavyweight slugfest in more ways than one.
And again, people are going to... I want to touch on Emma Rollman here in a second too, and people are going to focus on that, and with good reason. But Tegan Paris, talk about quote-unquote role players stepping up and having monster games and championship moments. Great to see. Awesome to see.
And the two seniors, Kelsey Stewart, kept dishing it to her, punishing the triangle and 2 defense that they came out against Warren on. And Slippery Rock made a calculated gamble, saying, we think our 3 can beat your 3. And there were times, if you looked, Childress was in one corner and Roman was other, and they were playing 3-on-3. It looked like a Gus Macker game.
Yes, it did. All right, in 6A, McDowell 60-29 over Erie, and then they went on to escape with a win from Altoona. Very closely contested game in the sub-regional there.
Good ball club. I'm not surprised.
No, neither am I.
All right, so speaking of surprises, when we look through our list of champions here, is there anybody that sticks out to you on this list that you're legitimately kind of surprised that they were able to come through and pick up the championship?
For me, it's the Clarion boys. I know I talking to our colleague Chris Rossetti and Rich Rhodes. They were not as surprised as I was.
Right.
But yeah, just the way they did it, knocking off the top seed, Elk County Catholic, and the way they beat Johnsonburg. Again, we shouldn't be surprised just because they have a lot of scorers. They have guys that can really fill it up. Cal German, Boverdale company. Sure. So I guess I'm not shocked. I am a little surprised. That's a tough District 9 Class A. That's tough to get through, and especially with ECC looming there, and they got through it. So that would be if there were a surprise to me, that would be my surprise.
Well, I would also ask. You've seen them over the years. Is that a typical 4-seed Clarion? In other years, they're a 3-2, maybe a 1, right? So this year they just happen to be a 4. I go to the girls' side with either Cambridge Springs or Fairview, most likely Fairview. Not that it's not a quality program in that, but Mercyhurst Prep rules the nest there, and not this year.
To piggyback on your point, Andy, Scott Fox told me after the game, one of the things that maybe helped Clarion was being a 4-seed and going on a road and not having to worry about, hey, we're at home because we're the higher seed and people expect us to win. Not having those neutral locations maybe kind of helps some of these lower seeds play a little loose.
There's not as much pressure. And you're absolutely right. Yeah, and you saw that with Clarion. They came out and played their game, played to their strengths, and they came away with a championship.
Yeah, I'm not going to discredit or disrespect a 4-seed. Again, that's a quality basketball team.
It sure
earned the title. Yep. Props to them.
Yep.
And again, so looking at our list some more, any of these teams jump out at you? You mentioned, Punxsutawney and Villa on the girls' side. Anybody look like they may make a run to, state finals, win a state championship?
I think also watch out for the Kennedy Catholic girls. They're undefeated. For a reason. And another team I would watch out for are the Franklin boys. Keep an eye on the Franklin. When you have a team that can shoot the ball the way they can shoot the ball, you're going to be a tough out. And they're going to, that's a team that's capable of, and again, it's a great program.
And unfortunately, I'm going to go in the opposite direction and point to the disappointment last year for Hickory.
Okay.
Because I think that team was destined to play in the last game of the season. And this year, they're escaping. Credit to them, but can they continue it now?
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do. Maybe they build on it.
Yeah.
And do they have enough offensive firepower to do it? It just seems like the grind of having to defend and for 4 quarters. I know we agree defense wins championships, but sooner or later in deep playoff games, you got to score too.
Yeah.
And you wonder if it's going to catch up to it.
To piggyback a little bit on what you said about the Franklin boys, they've been one of the best 3-point shooting teams all season long. They won that district championship game, and I'm going to say this kind of lightly, but only connected on 6 3-pointers in that game. So they proved in that game that they could do it without the 3-pointer if they have to.
And to your point too, Franklin coach Jason Fulmer told me that too. He's like they've evolved throughout the season so that after the semifinal win, where they're not strictly perimeter oriented, they're capable of going inside and banging around with teams.
And the deeper you go, the more apt you are to have an opponent take away your strength. So they better be able to score from somewhere outside of 20. And looks like they're starting to prove it. Good to them. And I agree with you. I think they could win multiple state playoff games.
All right, with that, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll go over some of the fantastic finishes, a little bit more in depth, get the guys' opinions on everything. Don't go anywhere. This is In Between the Lines on D9and10sports.com.
Hi, Chris Rossetti here from D9and10sports.com. I wanted to take a second to tell you about one of the best restaurants in all of Western Pennsylvania, the Allegheny Grill in Foxburg, PA. With indoor and outdoor dining, you can enjoy prime rib all weekend long, or perhaps it is their full wings served on Thursday wing nights that you're after. From celebrating a special occasion to hanging out with family and friends, the Allegheny Grill in Foxburg is the place to be. As they like to say, you come for the food and you stay for the view. Reserve your table today at AlleghenyGrill.com.
Yeah, welcome back here on In Between the Lines on D9and10sports.com. Brian Hagberg with Andy Close and Dave Sherman going over some playoff high school basketball. And don't forget, though, guys, over on D9and10sports.com, it is March Madness. The brackets are up. Our contest is open. Get your bracket in before the first games tip off Friday afternoon.
I have my red pen ready to start my classes.
I'm ready, guys.
Yeah. There you go. I don't think we have to ask who your pick for champion is going to be there.
No, surprise. No. No.
All right. You're not that big of a homer this year?
No.
Okay. Well, let's get back into some high school basketball playoffs. Some really great endings to games, a little bit of controversy in the championship games. Before we get into that in the game breakdown, let me ask you guys this. Did you like seeing the home court advantage format, or would you like to see them go back to neutral sites?
Go back to neutral sites, man. It's a championship game.
There's something about getting on a bus.
Yeah.
You know, especially a coach bus, that excitement and traveling in. I got to be a part of Youngsville's runs last year. And when we got off the bus at Oil City, fans were waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The kids will never forget that. Fans were cheering them getting off the bus. Yeah. So let the kids experience that.
I get why they did it this year.
Right.
Again,
Sure.
Not
sure.
Not criticizing that decision, but yeah, let's get back to normal next year. Get back to neutral sites.
What about first round? You okay with a first round home game?
First round, I'm okay with first round. But when you get semifinal championship, neutral sites.
Sure.
So I'd be okay with it up to the semifinals, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay. And I think the reason being there's got to be incentive to win your region and have the better record going in. I'd love to see the playoffs be seeded and the top seeds get home court until the championship game, and then decided on.
I want to see them seeded in the future too. I think District 10 maybe figured out this year. Hey, we're on to something.
This works.
Yeah, I mean, and again, the thing with seeding, especially with a full bracket for the most part, right, you hate to see a team that's third place in their region gets a bye because there wasn't a reseed and things. Yeah. And I think maybe seeing how easy, or well, I shouldn't say easy, but how well it worked to seed and have those things play out the way they did might be a good thing.
And Brian, I know we've been critical of that in the past. Yeah. That makes no sense. And we've seen teams, for lack of a better word, get the short end of the stick. Mm-hmm. And
that is the right word.
Yeah, that is the right word, the right phrase. I'm good there. I'm on point. That's you've seen, teams that didn't finish as high in their region getting byes, right, and region champions having to play, like, say, a first round or quarterfinal game. That makes no sense. Let's not go back to that.
Wouldn't you love to ask the committee members their rationale behind that? What's your logic here? Yeah. There is none.
Well, no, and again, I think they saw this year that what they seeding it works, guys.
I've heard in the past some of that was the brackets were pre-filled, and then when teams opted out, it was just easier to leave them the way they were instead of going back and reseeding. And
easier or lazier?
Well, yeah, you said it.
So move a team up or down. Give me 10 seconds and I'll fix that.
But I think these basketball playoffs especially have shown you get a more exciting product that way. You get better matchups that way. I think it's worth taking the time and effort to go back and really reseed or seed the brackets, I should say,
sure,
and let those top teams earn their way in and duke it out for a championship.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Same here.
All right, so let's get into some in-depth game coverage here. We'll start with Hickory and Harbor Creek. Again, a 39-34 win for Hickory. Harbor Creek was leading at the half, 17-10. Harbor Creek senior Cody Smith ejected in the third quarter, and it seemed like that was in the middle of the Hornets kind of turning the tide. How big a factor does that play in the way this game plays out, losing a player like Cody Smith?
Well, not just losing a player like Cody Smith, but the moment. I mean, Hickory was already on a run when that happened,
yes.
but to lose one of your best players like that, yeah, I mean, that's killer. I mean, that's in a championship game. That's tough.
Yeah, you wonder if we'll never know, and I'm sure Harbor Creek will talk about it forever. Great games sometimes have controversy, though, and this had both. Yeah. And unfortunately, we'll never know, and you don't get to play a best of 7. Yeah. And are we sure the better team won? I'm sure in Hickory they feel that way.
Let's be honest, they were very even. Two very evenly matched teams.
Yes.
And we're going to get into this, I'm not getting into it right now. Did that rise to the level of an ejection?
Are you asking me?
No. It was a championship game, guys. It's the heat of the moment.
It was a judgment call.
It was a judgment call. You know what?
We disagree on the ejection. I do. I agree that it should not have occurred.
I vehemently disagree.
Okay.
All right. So now we'll turn over to Clarion and Johnsonburg. First of all, a little history. The first overtime single-A title game since 2000 comes down to free throws at the end. We mentioned Hunter Craddock knocks them both down.
Right.
Fantastic game. I mean, really back and forth battle all the way. But for Clarion, too, also just the fourth KSAG team to win the single-A title since, I believe, 1999. Yeah.
Wow.
Big win for the Bobcats. Is that kind of what you expected from these two teams, a 4 and a 3 going in?
Yeah, I mean, it was as I say all the time, it was a game worthy of a championship.
Sure.
It was a terrific basketball game, and Elk County, not just Elk County Catholic, but Elk County in general, has, for lack of a better word, dominated the District 9 playoffs. You look at ECC and Johnsonburg and Ridgeway. Yeah. They've all had great teams with great coaches, and the tradition there is just incredible. But it's fun to see some new blood. It was fun to see Clarion win. It was fun to see the fashion in which they won, certainly. Right. And they are a fun team to watch, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Scott Fox, who I've known for a long time, and that's what a win for that program. What a win! What a program defining and program changing win for them.
And you wonder. Well, you just mentioned it. Program changing. The carryover effect. Now kids coming up in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, players say, "Hey, we can do this. We're not going to lose to Elk County every year or what have you." What I want to touch on in the free throws themselves. Every little boy and every little girl who's shot in their driveway or down at the playground at a young age has imagined themselves at the line to win a championship. Whether they're down one, I'm old enough, we didn't have the 3-point line, but I shot a lot of free throws down one and two free throws. Yeah. And if I missed, there was a lane violation, of course. I got to shoot.
It's the only reason.
But no, truly, they dream about that opportunity, and to have multiple games where these players, after so many years of hard work and setbacks and accomplishments, to get to the line, how exciting is that?
And again,
great for them.
Yeah, Hunter Craddock, Emma Rollman. Hunter Craddock, again, I touched on it before, 57% free throw shooter. And I'm pro analytics guys, but true analytic gurus will tell you that clutch is not a thing, that it doesn't matter. Bullcrap. It's absolutely.
It's a family show, Andy. Be careful.
There's a human element to the game, and my goodness, I've said it. God dang it! It's terrific to see these kids stepping up in those moments.
It harkens back to stepping up to the college level. If you remember the Bonaventure Kentucky game, where the 50% free throw shooter had to hit all 3 of them, and 57%. Good for him.
Yep.
Well, and the really ironic thing about it was right after Beauverdale had been to the line and missed both.
Yes.
And it allowed Johnsonburg to come back and tie, and then Craddock trying to get that buzzer beater off, gets fouled, and goes to the line and just knocks them both down. And Clarion had struggled from the line all game long. They were barely over 50% for the game. So again, for them to win it in that fashion ends an 18-year drought for Clarion. And like you were saying, Dave, that culture, it shows those kids that are coming up behind them, hey, we're capable of doing this.
How do you, for anyone who does it, how do you not love this stuff?
Yes.
We had some just incredible championship moments this year. I think more so probably than in years past.
Yeah.
Not that you didn't have great championship moments every year. But the way in which some of these games were decided, guys, that's incredible.
Yeah. Let me build on that. It's not often you'll hear anybody give a shout out to the referees and umpires, but you have to have the courage to make those calls. Yeah. And we saw it at Warren with an offensive foul, with a player control foul that took away 2 points that would have put Warren into the lead. So to be on spot and make that call that's the right call, there's some pressure there with that whistle. And props to them for having the courage to make those calls. They're the right calls, and they have to be made to keep the integrity of the game.
Speaking of calls, Andy touched on a little bit earlier. You were at the Karn City Countersport game. Again, it comes down to free throws late. I know there's been some question. You were there. Was it the right call?
I'm not here. I'm pro official. I am. No, I think officials get way too bad a rap. I think they did a fantastic job.
Yes.
I did not think it was the right call in the moment. And looking back on it, I still don't think it was the right call, having seen the video. But such is life.
Yeah.
And as the kids like to say too, ball don't lie. And so if it was the wrong call, and Hayden Keck, who else would you rather have at the line? I mean, on a team full of great scorers, your leading scorer goes to the free throw line, and I think the thing of that, we talked about icing, and that's a real thing, and that's not on Hayden. Hayden's a terrific basketball player, but more a credit to Karn City and Coach Bellis there to make that call. Very, very shrewd move and the right one, as it turned out.
I like to point out here, most coaches will step back after the emotion subsides and they will say, we had 47 possessions on offense. Mm-hmm. We had 11 turnovers. Yeah. We went 10 for 16 from the line. Yeah. It never comes down to one play. Yeah. You just remember the last
play. And to your point too, and that's that game was not won or lost at the free throw line at the end. I mean, Countersport led by 15 in that game. And they looked like the better team for a large stretch of that game, and then Karn City comes to life in the second half, and it's a different ball game. Yeah.
Well, as they have proven in multiple games here, it takes 32 minutes, or sometimes 37.
Yep. Yes, it does.
So, or 42.
Yep. All right, so the last one we're going to kind of take a deep dive on, Slippery Rock at Warren, Girls 5A and District 10. Dave, you and I both were there for this one.
Yes.
Absolute slugfest all the way throughout. These two teams battled. I mean, showed why they were the top two teams in 5A for sure. Again, it comes down to, tie game, minute to go. Like you said, Riley Childers called for a control foul with about 25 seconds left. Slippery Rock comes right back down, scores with 15 seconds to go.
Yes.
Emma Ruhlman misses a floater, gets the foul, free throws missed. Ruhlman grabs the rebound away. There was a little bit of a fight for the rebound.
Yes, there was.
Gets the rebound, dribbles up past half court, looks for a buzzer-beating three, is fouled, knocks down all three to give Warren the 1-point win.
Slippery Rock, 5 for 13 from the line. I'm sure they know that. I know their coaches know that. You know what Warren was from the line? 10 for 10.
Yeah.
Okay? So I don't want to hear, when you looked up, and we can get into this, at the scoreboard, they weren't afraid to call the charge on Riley.
Right.
And if you look, if I remember correctly, Warren had 18 fouls. Slippery Rock had 4.
Yeah.
So we can even get into should they have fouled Emma on the other side of half court. Yeah. Because if you run that film back, she actually pulls up. I thought it was 25, 27. It was more like 20, 21. She was close to the three-point line. Credit to her to know to get that off before the clock expired, because she's going to the sideline, heading up. It was 5.7.
You have to have that mental clock.
Yeah. So by the time she starts dribbling, it's below 5. So again, that's where you can get into how many different plays. There was a technical in there. They cost them 2 free throws and a possession because the tie-up was going Slippery Rock's way. they. I don't know what else to add to that. It was a slugfest.
Yeah. I was on my way down to Karn City for that game.
Right.
When that happened, and that was the talk down there. So it resonated across both districts. Mm-hmm. And what people were talking about the game. I said, you want to talk about a kid that is built for that moment?
Yes.
It's Emma Roman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lives, eats, sleeps, breathes basketball. Couldn't happen to a better kid. And I know I'm not surprised she knocked down all three in that moment. I know you guys aren't either.
I knew when she hit the first one, Slippery Rock was in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So it was just a matter of whether it was overtime or over. And really, upon second thought, it was over after she hit the first one. And you talk about her preparation for those moments. She even said in an interview, I did my ABCs. Mm-hmm. I did my routine. And I know she shot free throws in that gym with nobody around her many, many times. So it was just another 3 free throws she was shooting. But it wasn't.
And I know everybody's going to kind of talk and debate about that final play, whether it was a foul or wasn't a foul or shouldn't have been called, should have been called.
Right.
In that final minute, it's tied.
Right.
And Warren has the ball with a minute to go.
Mm-hmm.
They take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
They get the offensive fouls called. So Slippery Rock's got it with 25 seconds to go and shoot immediately. Are you surprised that neither team tried to hold for a one shot and say we're either going to win it or we're going to overtime?
Yes. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of hold. You get under a minute and it's tied.
There's no shot.
I'm taking the last shot.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of that. I know other coaches say we're going to run our offense and get our shot, and if we get it, and Slippery Rock got a layup out of it.
Yeah.
So if you ask her, their coach, Amber, yeah, if I'm going to get a layup with under 15 seconds to go to take the lead by 2, she's going to sign up for that.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to sign up for that.
Here's, I want to touch on Slippery Rock for just a moment.
Sure.
Amber Osborne, their coach, runs a terrific program. They've had 5 straight. They've had some championship heartbreak, but they've won. They've got that level they've won. They've got that level they've lost. But it's hard to get there every single year, and they've been doing it. What a terrific program.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you ask the Warren brass if you'd like to play more than one against them, they'd say we'll take our chances one game. We'll take our chances in one game.
And
because
between her and Lisa Levan and Chris Birch at Grove City, you really have some coaches there that run some outstanding programs.
I wanted to ask Coach Levan at some point, maybe I will. At what point as a coach did you step away and you were Emma's mom? Watching those free throws.
She didn't watch the free throws. She told me after the game she couldn't look because I asked her that question as mom and coach.
Yeah.
What are you thinking in that moment? And she said, I still haven't even watched them yet.
Spoiler alert, she makes all 3.
And you can see that interview.
Right.
You can see full game recaps. All these championship games over at D9and10sports.com. If you like sports, this is the place to be. We've got it all.
Folks, this is fun for us. I mean, these kids have provided us with some outstanding moments, and we're privileged to be able to cover it. We hope you enjoy the coverage because we enjoy bringing it to you. And guys, the kids have made it easy for us.
And you know what? 5 years ago, they weren't getting those interviews. It was rare to get an interview. So props to us for making those kids stars. They're making themselves stars, but we're making sure that they're getting the visibility.
Shine the light.
Yes, shine the light. Great point. And you can see the joy in their face. Like, you want to talk to me?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we absolutely do.
And especially, like you said, some of the quote-unquote role players.
Yeah.
Those are the kids we get a chance to talk to, and we see them game in and game out. And so, we have kind of a good feel for when they're having a big moment, and you can see it afterwards when you come up and talk to them that they know they've done something pretty special.
And just to build on that, even, I'm thinking back through all these interviews and getting a chance to talk to Luke Kramer at Karn City last night. And he's a freshman. And he stepped up big for them last night, and he has all season, averaging in double figures. But I said to him, I said, Luke, I said, I'm sure you get this a lot, but you don't look like a freshman on the court. And he just chuckles and says, yeah. So it's so great to get to know these kids, to talk to bring you the coverage that they deserve, and we're so excited to do it.
Luke, it won't be your last interview. Keep working.
And again, all those interviews, game highlights, coach interviews, you can find them all on our YouTube channel at D9 and 10 Sports. Again, all the game recaps, everything you need to know about the playoffs on D9and10sports.com. We also had some wrestling champions crowned last weekend. Congratulations to all the D9 and D10 guys who made it to the state finals. They all came home with a medal with the way the tournament worked out this year. So congratulations to them. Warren's Katie Madigan had a 4th place finish in the diving competition for 2A. Congratulations to her for a program that didn't have divers 3 years ago.
I'm not sure they had a board.
Pretty big accomplishment there, and she's got another year left to go. So we'll see if she can improve on that next year.
And let's build on that. You younger athletes, Katie Madigan has been diving for 2 years. So you put in the work. Obviously she had a gymnastics background that helps, but hard work and determination will go a long way if you have some talent.
And as we're filming this, the swimming championships will be tomorrow and Saturday. It's Thursday morning, so Friday and Saturday swimming championships. Good luck to all the District 9 and 10 swimmers who will be competing there. Guys, any final thoughts?
Just what a I know I said it before, but guys, what a privilege these winter championships have been. So many great moments. Really, even it seems like even more than usual, doesn't it? It really does. And again, so happy to see these kids step up in big moments. There's nothing better than that, man. It's just fantastic to see.
And I hope they appreciate that they won these championships or played for championships in March. But at least when it comes to basketball, and I'm sure other sports are the same way, they also won them in April, May, June, as they were in the gym or in the weight room or jogging or running on the road. It doesn't just happen. You've got to put in the work to be ready when your opportunity comes. And they were ready.
All right, one final reminder, head on over to D9and10sports.com, get your March Madness bracket filled out, enter our March Madness bracket. And again, I know Andy's absolutely ready for this. This is your favorite time of year.
This is my favorite time. Can you tell I'm excited today? No, this is with all the great stuff we have going on at the high school level and with March Madness starting. Man, what a great time of year. Excited. Go. It's up on our website. Go sign up. Come see if you can beat us. You probably beat me. I'm never great at this.
Because you know too much.
I know, but I enjoy it very, very much. So go on over and sign up and have some fun with us.
I'll put you on the spot. You want Gonzaga or do you want the field?
Lucky for you, someone already asked me this question. I'm taking the field.
Okay.
Taking the field.
All right. I'll take the Zags.
You're taking the Zags? All right. I took the field as well. And as I was filling out my bracket, it was really, really hard. I got down to a championship game that included Michigan, and I was like, that's tough. I don't know if I can deal with this one. But
I got a daughter at Michigan.
Well, we won't hold that against you. All right, guys. Thanks so much for coming on. For Andy Close and Dave Sherman, this is Brian Hagberg saying thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next time on In Between the Lines on D9and10sports.com.
Today's episode of In Between the Lines was recorded at the International Sports Academy Studios in Warren, PA. The International Sports Academy, connecting at-risk youth with long-term mentors to change their lives now and for eternity. Visit them online at isasports.org.